My name is Rafael, you watch Rock and Roll Garage, and I'm gonna tell the story of how Pink Floyd fired Syd Barrett. But first, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave your comment. Well, Syd is one of the band's co-founders. He gave Pink Floyd the name, and he was a central figure during the first years with all the singles they released and the debut album, The Piper at the Gates of Dawn. He was one of the main songwriters, he was the vocalist, he was the guitarist, and he was a central figure. But due to now that is known that might have been a mix of the drug abuse and schizophrenia, his mental condition got worse. It was in decline, it was deteriorating, and he could no longer do everything the band was needed to do in the band. So that was putting in risk their live performances, their all the appointments they had, and etc. You know, he was not that trustable anymore. So they bring David Gilmour aboard. They invited him to join the band to be kind of a backup for Syd. And eventually, as Syd got worse, they fired him. But this firing was really, it's quite mean in my opinion, because they simply didn't pick him up one day going to a show. That's what David Gilmour said in an interview with Mojo magazine in 2006, and this is what he said. He was asked first if the departure was correct, and this is what he said. We were driving up Ladbroke Grove, and someone said, "Shall we go and pick up Syd?" And somebody else, probably Roger, said, "Nah, let's not." And we didn't, and we drove off down Southampton. And then he was asked how he felt about it, and he said he wasn't capable or willing to do what was needed. When you're young and ambitious, you're also pretty callous, and we just got on with it. And then he asked Gilmour if his personal take on it was that he was callous, to which he said, "Yeah, I think we all were. One's desire for survival in that field outweighs other considerations. Obviously, we were racked with guilt about it later on. I mean, Roger and myself did work on producing a solo album for Syd, Madcap Laughs, in 1970. Then Rick and I worked on producing the next one, Barrett, also in 1970. So we clearly did feel that we owed him something." And he recalled also in this interview that it was quite difficult to work with Syd on those solo albums because of his mental condition. You know, it was really hard to record him. Just in a few moments he was well enough to do that, and it was really hard for that. And the band obviously continued, and they became one of the biggest bands in the world, one of the most successful and famous ones. And Syd spent the rest of his life recluse, thankfully receiving the royalties from his work with the band and consequential releases of greatest hits and other stuff like that. But he had a private life, and the interesting thing is that his mother told them, his ex-bandmates, that they shouldn't go and try to connect with him after a while, after they worked together on that album, because he would have like he would feel bad when he saw something that reminded him of Pink Floyd. So she prohibited all of them to reach him out, and they never saw each other again after that final meeting during the Wish You Were Here session, when the band was coincidentally recording Shine On You Crazy Diamond, a song that was influenced by what with everything that happened to Syd. And when they were recording that album, that song, he appeared unannounced at the Abbey Road studios and sat down with them. He was really different. He shaved his head, his eyebrows. He was a little bit more fat, and that was the final meeting he had with the band. A little bit after that, Roger Waters coincidentally saw him in a grocery store, and he avoided Roger and went away. So it's really sad. I mean, back in the 60s and the following decades, all these mental conditions were quite of unknown for a lot of people. Not everybody was prepared, even the institutions, to receive people like that or to treat. We didn't have all the medicines, the drugs we have today to treat those conditions. So it's really sad that a musical genius like he was, and a very underrated musician. I mean, those first Pink Floyd releases are fantastic, and he influenced a lot of people. For example, David Bowie is a huge fan of Syd, and many others, especially the progressive rock musicians, are very interested in Syd's work, and they love those first albums. And the Piper at the Gates of Dawn with the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, both of them were recorded at the same time at the Abbey Road studios. And both of those albums are considered the two albums that really gave birth to what would later be called progressive rock. So Syd's importance for progressive rock is enormous. Although his work with Pink Floyd was brief, he is a fundamental guy in progressive rock music and one of the godfathers of that genre too. And it's really sad. He passed away at the age of 60 in 2006. And he lived a recluse life away from the spotlight. He didn't record again or played live. And it's one of those sad stories in rock and roll music. If you want to know more about this fact that his mother prohibited David Gilmour, Roger Waters, Richard Wright, and Nick Mason to reach him out, we already did a video about it that you can watch below the video. You can find a link to it. And you're going to know more about that. And if you want to read more, go to the description, visit the article I wrote about it, and let's talk, okay? Leave your comment, like the video, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.